Hi friends, Right Careers welcomes you to another brand new video for this week. This is Sudarshan, your career coach. This week we are going to see a topic that is offbeat in nature, but at the same time it is one of the most hip career, I would say. Is the topic for this week is careers in photography, or rather photographer as a career. Right, traveling across the world with the camera or mobile phone has become the in thing these days, right? Everybody is a photographer these days, with courtesy mobile phone, courtesy gadgets. Everybody is a photographer. A career in photography is a blend of technical and artistic acumen, right? It's combination of technicality and art. Photography, let's not forget, even though we all have become photographers, photography is still an art. Now it needs lot of patience and perseverance to become a photographer. These days, more and more people I know have turned their hobby of photography into a profession. Qualified people in other professions like engineers and even chartered accountants are slowly migrating, turning their hobbies into a profession called photography. Now photography also has evolved a lot. We have seen photography how it was few years ago, how it was 20 years ago, how it was 10 years ago, from the good old days of film making to digitizing. A lot of things have changed in the topography of photography. It used to be one dimensional, but now it has become highly multidimensional. You have photographers specific for things like a wildlife photographer or even a war photographer. People who go and shoot war, they're called war photographers. We will see one by one, but I'm saying it has become now highly multidimensional in nature. Even though photography as a profession, or if you want to choose photography as a career, you don't need a formal qualification, because this is a self-learned profession where you learn the art of photography by yourself. Mostly there are some ways where you can also acquire the skills of photography, especially from the academic perspective, which we will also be seeing in this video. It takes a lot of time, although it takes a lot of time to establish yourself as a photographer. Once you establish yourself, you get really paid well. So that's a basic about photography. Now moving on, we will see what are the types of photographers that are there today. Before we see how to make a career in photography, it's very important we understand the types of photographers. So what do you mean by types of photographers? People who are in my age at least, or above my age, must be wondering what are the types of photographers. We know only one photographer who used to be there everywhere, right? Be it in the photo studio or in the wedding, we only see one type of photographers. But yes, that has changed. Those days are gone. There are multiple photographers available these days, and we will see one by one. The first photographer, or the first type of photographer that I can think of, is definitely an advertising photographer. As the name itself suggests, these people usually shoot for commercial advertisements. They take photos for commercial advertisements, for agencies, and also for some media houses. So that's the first kind of photographers. They specialize in taking photographs for advertisements. That's the first kind of photographer. The second kind of photographer is definitely an event and concert photographer. So large events like new product launches. If you launch a car, you need to shoot the car in different angle. If you launch even a cinema, you need to shoot from a different angle. So any large event, any new product launch, or even a concert, be it a classical concert or a light concert. So you got to have photographers who cover from a different angle for the event and as well as for the concert. So these are event and concerts photographers. The third kind of photographer is a slightly serious photographer in the form of photojournalist. Now photojournalists are people who are slightly different breed of people. They usually cover the social issues in the geography or the neighboring places. For example, last week was completely flooded in Tamil Nadu. Most of the photojournalists did carry all those unique flood of roads, and then they send it. They usually send it to all the media houses and get good money out of it. So those are photojournalists who usually cover the social issues and send it to the media house. So that's the third type of photographers. The fourth type of photographers, which is once again a common phenomenon these days, is a wedding photographer. So what is wedding photographer? You might be wondering, what is wedding photographer? What does at least in my marriage, I know people used to take only photo and video, but things have changed a lot. One of the recent weddings that I was a part of last month, as early as last month, there were three or four photographers, different cameras, it was spider and it was going like this and this, like, what was shocking for me, at least for someone like me and above me in the terms of age group, is for a wedding, a photographer has taken close to 2000 photographs. 2000 photographs, all in different angle, different I mean, moments. Basically, they are moment capturers than photographers, and then all candid in nature. So, wedding photographers have become red hot these days. So, wedding photographers is the fourth kind of profession that we can think of. The fifth kind of photographers is that I can think of is in the form of an aerial photographer. Aerial photographers, as the name itself suggests, they usually take photographs from the top, be it in the flight, be it from the helicopter, be it from the hill. They go up and then take, whatever they take photos of buildings, they take photos of landscapes, places, especially during calamities. They go to the, they go with the in the helicopter and then take pictures and send it for government, send it for news, send it for military purposes, even military photographers for wartime, I told you, and various purposes that they use. So that's the fifth kind of photographers, which is called as the aerial photographers. The next type of photographer that I can think of is a fashion or a cinema photographer. The fashion photographers are photographers typically used for all fashion shows. For example, shows like Lakme Fashion Week, and lot of fashion shows happen, lot of cinema events happen. So these photographers are specialists in taking photographs during the fashion parade or fashion week or things like this. So these are some of the types of photographers that I can think of. Moving on, where do these photographers can work? Which industries that photographers usually, are employed? Definitely the logical and the first industry that comes to my mind is newspapers and media houses. They usually employ, photographers on a full-time basis, so that it gets covered in the respective newspapers and media houses, magazines as well. News agencies also, most of the times work with photographers. News agencies, be it international and domestic agencies like Reuters, AFP, Press Trust of India, these people, hire photographers. So news agencies is one industry. Websites, it can be any website. Websites do hire photographers. Ad agencies, for various commercial shooting purposes, ad agencies also recruit photographers. And then the best way a photographer can employ themselves, according to me, is to be a freelancer, where they can, contribute across. So that's the fifth type of industry, or rather the entrepreneur industry, where a photographer can still make a good career out of it. So how does one become a photographer now? Moving on. How do you become a photographer? I told you that this is a self-made profession. You usually learn this art by experience, by yourself, or by observing and things like that. However, there are few courses that is being offered these days in India as a full-time, even in graduation level. There are a lot of certificate programs which will help you augment your profession, but there are few graduation courses also, formal graduation courses, that help you polish your skills. Now, take it from me, these courses are usually, certificate courses or even the graduation courses are mainly to polish your artistic skills that's there in you. So some of the institutes I know, Symbiosis Pune, they have an exclusive college called Symbiosis School of Photography, where they offer BA in Visual Arts and Photography. It's in Pune. And then you have Osmania University, Hyderabad, offering program degree in photography. Jamia Millia, JMU, offers photography degree. National Institute of Photography, Mumbai, offers a 3-year degree, BSc degree especially. Ragurai Center for Photography, Delhi, offers you a 3-year program, graduation program in photography. ICAT in Chennai also offers a 3-year degree in photography. These are some of the courses where you can, enroll yourself and learn or polish the skills of photography for academic purposes. Moving on, how much do a photographer earn? It's very important, right? Now, trust me, or if you're in for a shock, I'm sure some of you will be in for a shock. A wedding photographer I know usually gets somewhere between 20,000-25,000 or even 10,000 to as high as 1 lakh a day for a wedding or a day. So that's the potential that this industry has when it comes to wedding photographers. Usually people who work for media houses get somewhere in the range of 20 to 25,000 as starting, and then it goes on these days, as high as 50-60,000 also they get per month. Wildlife photographer gets, all these photographers are, usually paid. Wildlife photographers or wartime photographers are usually paid on assignment by assignment basis. So, even though their salary might not be fixed, they will get good salaries for an assignment that they do. As always in the our segment, the pros and cons. Pros, it's definitely a creative profession. There is no doubt. You become highly creative. There is no, never a dull moment. You capture good moments, great moments, some memorable moments, right? So therefore, it's a highly creative professional. There is no boredom, I would say. if you're a freelancer, trust me, it's a great profession. There is no doubt. Some cons, yes, it takes some time, for you to establish yourself. Orders doesn't come to you if you're a freelancer that easily. So you have to prove yourself. You have to be continuously in the scheme of things for you to get that continuous order. And usually, I know that many clients will not be satisfied with the photographs, however good you take. Therefore, the editing part is very, very critical these days. And if your customers are delighted, they will definitely come back to you. So, right, that's all I have for this week. Hope you had a great time listening to the photography. And if you want to make a career in photography, do go ahead. And if you have any further doubts, do ping me. All the credentials are there beneath this video. And do subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is www.youtube.com/writecareers. And until next Monday with another brand new video, see you all. Take care. Have a safe week. Thank you.